When there's an injustice against you or someone you love or someone you believe in, stand up. Don't sit down on them. They need you.
Welcome to Popcorn Planet's Diddy Gate coverage. I'm Andy Signore, here again with It's Kim. How you doing, Kim?
Hello, I am doing good. I'm doing good. We got Kid Cudi today. We got stuff to go over.
We did. The Kid Cudi stuff was pretty interesting, I gotta say, and we're gonna go through a lot of it with you guys here. Some other guests, they wrapped early, and turns out we didn't realize they're not in tomorrow, Kim. So
no.
we got a little bit of a break. The jury does too. I'm sure they are ecstatic. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm sure they are. It was actually kind of funny at the end of the day. The judge kind of looked at them and said, "Does anyone have any objections to us, ending a little early today?" And everybody was laughing, and I'm like, "Yeah, the judge has had it. The judge is so tired."
There were some moments today too where the judge got very upset at Diddy's counsel, threw down in a way that I don't know. It just reeks of desperation, honestly, to me. And we did get some more clear evidence of Ricola. So pretty big day, I would say, overall. Not huge fireworks that some maybe were hoping, but definitely some big revelations today that we'll be going through thanks to Kim's tease. I also was paying attention as I'm packing I'm going away for this weekend, and I was paying attention a little bit more. And there were some interesting revelations. What were your thoughts, Kim?
Mm-hmm. I think overall it was a much more interesting day than yesterday, in all fairness. I think Kid Cudi did very well. Overall, his mannerisms and his vibe was very chill. Apparently he was yawning quite a bit through. So it'd be like they would break and he would just go like, ugh, and he'd stretch and he'd yawn. And it was almost like you could kind of envision him being like, oh, look at you, Sean. Sucks to be you right now. I'm doing great. I'm doing so good. Like he was so at peace and so relaxed. It was kind of funny as we read through everything.
Yeah, it's sort of like the ultimate karma. He's kind of like, yeah, how's your life going? My life's going great.
Yeah, remember when you did this? Yeah?
Yeah. Sure.
And you thought you were just going to get away with it? Yeah, it's so funny.
Yeah, I don't think that's petty either. I think that's good for him. He's allowed.
Yep. I liked it. It was great.
Yeah, so I'm also adjusting because I love taking these court sketch artist pictures and turning them into realistic Diddy.
Yes.
He's staring at a photo of himself on a laptop. According to this court sketch artist sent this. This I had it here. Hold on. Did I lose it? There was an image I was staring at of this this one. This was the image in court today with an image of Diddy on the screen. And I thought, oh, that's for later. That's an old one. I want to repurpose that. And I thought, does this sum up today? Diddy clearly, I think, is starting to feel it. What do you think?
I think he's starting to feel it. I heard it was kind of like one of the things I read today was that when Kid Cudi came in the room, he just whipped his head around like, oh my gosh. And it's like, yep, he's starting to feel it. He's starting to feel it. And he
Folks
should
are
because
turning.
Yeah, and yeah, he should ultimately. One of the biggest things, like with Rico, and everybody's saying, well, this is a DV case, this is the DV case. No, it's not. It is a RICO law case. And one of those charges is arson. This is a big deal. They only got to prove 2. So if they can prove this one, they got 1 more to go.
I think they proved arson. Look at these photos, Kim.
Yeah.
Ooh, all right. Well, that's the main tease. We're gonna get back into it. When we reported on Kid Cudi this morning, I didn't have all the photos and some of the cross, so we're gonna go through that as well as the other guests, etc. So Kim, let's break into it. For some reason my thing just closed. Apologies. If you're listening on the audio platforms, apologies. You can't see some of the stuff we're showing, but good reason to pop into the YouTube player once in a while and you can check out what we're talking about. But welcome. If you're watching on one of those platforms, reach out. Let us know on Popcorn Planet, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. Tell us that you've discovered us there. I've seen some views over on those platforms and I'm very excited about that. All right, but Kim's notes are here. Man, these are awesome notes. So there was a debate at the beginning over his testimony. He cannot speculate and say Combs committed arson and burglary, the judge said. But he can share his thoughts about why he called the meeting with Combs. Specifically, Cudi could not speak about the impact of the home break-in, allegedly orchestrated by Combs, had on his dog. There was a whole thing, I read this too, about, and then there was a point, one of the people was like, We will not we will not testify on the dog's feelings or what the dog said. There was like some joke about it, which
There
the
was also
courtroom laughed.
unfortunately, the dog is no longer with us, so the dog will not be able to testify about their experience during this situation. But I mean, I understand it because to be honest, as we'll get through it, if this was my dogs, I would not have been chill on this stand today. I would not have been relaxed at all.
Oh, and we
Not
don't
at
even know
all.
what was happening to the dogs. We know they were locked in a bathroom, but someone had to put them in that bathroom. And were they kind putting them in that bathroom? I suspect not. I
No,
suspect
it sounds like the dog was traumatized, and that has been a thing for Kid through this, and completely understandable. Completely understandable.
Yeah, Caroline's right. I think we need a John Wick poster with Kid Cudi on it. That would be good. I like that idea.
Pretty much.
For real though, you don't F with a dog.
No.
They
didn't
I've
do
been a
anything.
dog owner as my life, but now I'm recently new a dog owner again. And my God, if someone messed up with my dog,
Oh yeah.
I would John Wick their ass.
Yeah. It all makes so much sense. You're like, I believe this 100%.
So before we get to Cudi, George Kaplan returned. So he testified. This was a previous assistant, right?
Yes.
And he testified about a physical altercation between Combs and Cassie during a private plane ride in 2015. He heard glass shatter, turned around and saw Combs standing over Cassie with a whiskey glass in his hand. She was on her back with her legs out trying to create space, and George heard her screaming for help. Security did not intervene. Again, here we go. More of the employees doing what Combs wants. He describes how Combs later moved to the front of the plane while instructing Cassie to stay behind. Kaplan recounted a separate incident in 2015 when he had to purchase health beauty items to conceal bruises for her face after seeing her visibly upset, noting he brought witch hazel on Combs's request. What does witch hazel do?
Witch hazel is it's a natural remedy for healing, soothing, all those
Got
types
it.
of
For
things.
like bruises and stuff. Okay, got it. So you could also maybe
Are
use.
you familiar with Amica cream?
Amica?
Yes.
No.
I love his laugh.
He was the
It
best.
always gets me. Yeah.
He also saw Combs be aggressive towards Gina. He saw him throw tree apples at Gina.
Oh, three. It's supposed to be three,
I
not
was gonna
tree.
say
I missed
tree
the H
apples,
there.
wow.
My apologies.
It's like Zelda, Breath of the
full
Wild. He's
apple
grabbing
trees.
those apples and hiya! While Gina was out there, she tried to shield herself. After witnessing multiple instances of concerning behavior, Kaplan chose to resign from his position in December 2015. Good for him. Citing discomfort with the activity he observed. He initially attributed his resignation to his father's illness, but felt it was the right decision given the circumstance. Despite his resignation, witnessing all of this, Kaplan expressed that he valued his time working for Combs, describing it as one of the most incredible experiences of his life. You think he's just saying that so he doesn't get, taken out later? He's trying to like play both sides
No.
there, Kim?
No, I think there was a very real tone based on what I was reading to what he was saying, and he's going to talk about a bit more in cross-examination that he did respect Diddy as a business person. He knew he was a marketing genius. He learned a lot from him. He was thankful for the experience because it taught him a lot. But it also was true. His father did have prostate cancer. He did not make that up, but he did use it as his excuse to get out of it without being like, hey, I'm quitting because you were like insane and awful. So I understand both sides of it.
So what happened on the cross there? You want to sum it up?
Yeah, I don't know
Overall-
what just happened with that.
I don't know either. Just try
Yeah.
to, there we go. It's there.
There we go. Thank you. Okay.
Gemini keeps trying to summarize things for
Yeah.
us. Summarize our summaries. Kaplan
helpful.
described working with Combs as the hardest he's ever worked. Combs pushed him to depths he didn't know he had, and he was proud of the work he put in. So that's, I guess, what you're trying to get at. Yeah, his energy was infectious, inspirational, but that Combs' temper hurt his business. Though he didn't always like how Combs acted, he described his time working as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, pushing to depths he never thought. Kaplan's friend described it as his Harvard, where he really learned sort of what to do. I guess that's a really effed up way to say this. Diddy was my Harvard. Yikes. We learned that Biggie's birthday, which was yesterday, is a holiday for all Combs enterprise. Costco lawyer again I love that we call him, brought up the applesauce. I'm waiting for applesauce to come in. All this buildup about the applesauce and finances. Exchanges began here. Goes
If you
for
wanna
three.
see what was
Oh,
said.
sorry, because you want exchange. I'm like Ron Burgundy that. Uh,
On Burgundy? He reads whatever you put on the teleprompter.
what is a creative environment? Absolutely. It attracted all kinds of creative people, lawyers, musicians, advertising people. A few specific questions. Used a corporate credit card? Yes. How did Mr. Combs pay? KK, Christina Cole, what's her name? That woman.
Christina Coram was
held
the
his
first
wallet
reference
with
of
a
her
black
check.
Amex card in it. You have no reason to think he kept track of how baby oil was paid for. No reason. Or applesauce. He loves applesauce. Or cheeseburgers, smiles. Oh, gross. What is this? You know he loves cheeseburgers too, right? What is with this weird?
I read one report today that apparently when they said it about applesauce and cheeseburger, I can't remember where it was cited. Please don't quote me on it, but apparently there was one juror that like gagged.
Oh.
Like we are all this jury. Like,
This is like the defense. Diddy's like, oh yeah, cheeseburgers, jury, and applesauce. Aren't my clients cool? On
He's so
cheeseburger, he loves
relatable.
applesauce. On cheeseburgers, on everything. Let's talk about the plane.
Yeah.
Why is
And
he
then we
keep
get
bringing
into
up the
that whole-
applesauce? That's it. Okay.
I don't know, but it's
So
so
weird.
interesting that it's like he was the one that brought up how he paid for it, that it's on the black AMX, brought up KK, and then again brought up the applesauce, the baby oil. It's just like I don't understand this man.
It's
I do
like
not
Diddy-
understand this man.
I think Diddy's trying to launch a fast food joint after this because he needs the money. So
Apparently.
if we're gonna get the Diddy burger soon, which is gonna be the applesauce burger. It's gonna be what? Mark my words. All right. So Kaplan talks the jury through all the romantic partners Combs had while he worked with them. Cassie, Gina, Kim Porter. Porter was someone who was a rung above all of Combs's other girlfriends. So there was a hierarchy of girlfriends.
Yes.
There was a sister of the sister wives. He says she was the mother of his incredible kids. Kaplan tells the court that Combs respected Porter more and had an extra gauge of patience with her. So it more sounds like Porter really knew how to keep him in line.
Yeah.
Like to a point where it was a mutual level of respect. And because of that, clearly Cassie and anybody else never really had a chance because it was clear his go-to was always going to be his real one was going to be Kim, I guess here. So defense attorney, Costco lawyer, asked Kaplan whether he was ever personally threatened by Combs. Though Kaplan said his job was threatened by Combs frequently, he never was subjected to threats of physical aggression with his former employer. So there you go. Interesting back and forth, but all I learned is that he likes applesauce. That's one of those things that's going to stick with the jury, where it's like everything else, all the bad stuff still there. But then the defense was, well, he really likes applesauce, huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm very curious how that plays. We got to.
thing I do wanna-
I need an
yeah.
applesauce counter, Kim, and chat. Sorry, but like
Ding ding.
so
ding,
much
ding,
buildup
yeah.
of this applesauce. It better remote to something later, or my God, what a dumb move. Go ahead.
One thing I do want to mention, just I don't want to skip over it, is we had another instance of talking about KK in this too, and it was that he didn't tell anyone. He had no recollection of telling anyone on the security team about a violent incident, but he did describe under his examination, but he did tell her. Okay, so she knew.
She's
So
a
we
big
have
mystery
some-
one. Are they
Yep.
going to bring her up? Where is she?
don't
We don't know, right?
I don't
She's
know.
a big mystery. Like you'd think they need her. They also need, it's surprising there's not fellow charges against her. But then again, they got to sort of save one to throw the other one out, I would think, right?
Yeah.
You hope they have a plan.
Yep.
I hope
we
they
can
have a
hope.
plan.
Fingers crossed.
So
Yeah.
then Kid Cudi took the stand, and we did talk about it this morning, so I'm not going to go as in depth on the first part. You can learn more. I read through the whole chain, so you can go, but we'll summarize that, and we'll go to the cross exam. Yeah, he came in pretty confident. Combs whipped back to get a look at him, to kind of do a stare down, it seems. And yeah, they met Cassie in 2008. They didn't date until 2011. Cassie was having problems with Combs, and the couple, to his knowledge, the couple were not dating. Cudi testified that he got a call from Cassie in 2011 saying that Combs had found out about the relationship and asked to pick him up. She was nervous and told Cudi that Combs was abusive. Once Cassie was with them, Cudi told the court he took her to Sunset Marquee to keep her safe away from Combs. At one point, he received a call letting him know that Combs and an associate were at Cudi's home. Cudi says that the call was made by Combs' employee, Capricorn Clark, and Cassie was on her speakerphone. If they don't pull out Capricorn Clark, that's going to be really bad news.
Capricorn is coming out on Tuesday.
There we go.
She's the
So
next
there-
witness.
It's starting to all
Yes.
follow along. As we remember, now Kid Cudi sets this up.
Ricola.
And now Capricorn's next. Man, I would not want to be Capricorn over this long weekend. I'm not going to enjoy my weekend. I'm not going to try. I don't mean to make a laugh out of it, but holy crap. Can you imagine the pressure of this woman now who's going to reiterate and confirm this? And now it's a 3-day, 4-day weekend with Diddy people. I would assume the government has her on lockdown this weekend. Do you agree?
I hope for her sake she is. I can't speak to it. I don't know either way. But I think when we are talking about RICO, obviously the employees are very important. Capricorn, as we're going to keep reading, was witness to some of this. And it sounds terrifying. Absolutely terrifying.
Yeah, I keep saying Cudi. When it says Cudi, it's confusing me even more because it's Kid Cudi. That I've learned, but now saying Cudi, it's Cudi. I don't know. I never knew who Kid Cudi was. I'm sorry. I couldn't name one of his songs if you put a gun to my head. I don't know. I'm into rap. I'm not familiar with Kid Cudi, so apologies. I never heard him say it out loud. I'm trying my best. Bear with me, guys. But yes, so Cudi was forced along to go along, testify that Cassie was forced along, or I guess this is Capricorn. She was in the car outside waiting for them. Cudi testified she was forced to go along with them over there. On the way back to his house from the hotel, Cudi said he called Combs. When Cudi asked Combs if he was in the house, Combs said, "I just want to talk to you. I'm on my way. I'll be right down. I'm over here waiting for you," Combs replied. So outside the house, it seemed normal, but then the security cameras removed. We talked about this. Some of his stuff was shuffled with, and his dog was in the bathroom. And typically his dog roams around the house. So there was a whole discussion previously, as we discussed. But yes, the dog was jittery and on edge all the time. Clearly that was a sticking point and something important to say, which is true. They clearly roughed up the dog, which is not okay. And then Cudi returned to home after he called Sean again, asking where he was. Combs said he was on his way. Cudi was ready to confront him and fight him. He said then he decided on the phone to call the police. He recalled thinking at the time, I don't know who he was with, or I don't know what his intentions are. He filed a police report that day. He then spent the holidays with Cassie in her family's home in Connecticut. Texted a couple times. I guess he was in the dark about things and wanted to talk, but at that point, post break-in, I didn't want to talk, he said. You broke into my house. You messed with my dog. I don't want to talk to you. I mean, that's being polite.
That's incredibly fair.
Yes. Cudi's car then caught fire in the driveway. So how far apart, how long was this? December 2011.
2011, yep. And then is one day in 2012 was what I heard.
He was 45 minutes away, and the dog sitter called to say he was rushing home, sent him photos to show the open top. And then we have some of the photos right here. So that's the opening of the car, which they cut open to drop a Molotov hot cocktail in there and set it off. Honestly, it looks like it's less damage than I expected. I assumed this to be a whole cinder box, but some of it's, I mean, it's bad, but.
If you look at the interior of the door, there's another photo. If you keep scrolling, or it should be in the gallery. If you scroll up a bit, it may say there's the gallery of photos.
Oh, okay, there we go. Nope, it's just the one.
No, I think it's above that. If I'm remembering this correctly.
Okay.
Yep.
Launch gallery.
So you can see the charring on the side, the glass, right? So it's almost like the damage was on the driver's side, it looks like almost, but definitely nasty and major repair job. I don't think that there's no point. There's no point with that.
Yeah, it's a Porsche, right? It's messed up.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm just shocked that it didn't all just burn down. Like a lot of the interior and stuff, they must have put it out quick enough, I guess. Somebody put the fire out.
We will be hearing also from the LAPD and the Los Angeles Fire Department next week as well. So I'm sure we'll hear about how they handled the situation and the damage that was done.
And a key point, because like you said earlier, arson is part of the racketeering. Ricola. They're getting there. They needed more time, clearly, and they're getting there. Yep. So the car was messed up. That's news from our earlier thing. What was his reaction to his car being set on fire? He responded, what the F? That's fair. There was a hot moment. There was like an
objection too to him saying when
they said objection.
Just said, like, apparently it was deadpan and he was just like, what the? And then there was an objection, like, I'm sorry, that is an appropriate response to seeing that somebody cut open your Porsche and put an explosive inside. Like, I'm sorry, did you want him to be more restrained?
He obviously assumed this was Combs. It's a good guess. And there was speculations back and forth, or objections to the speculation that it was Combs, because clearly he didn't see it. There's no proof. There was threats and hearsay threats that he was gonna do it. Diddy's lawyer also messed up when talking about the year the car blew up. He did. It was stupid. Cudi said he met Combs at Soho House in LA after someone blew up his car. The first time the men had seen each other since they entered a love triangle with Cassie. Sean was standing there with his hands behind his back like a Marvel supervillain. Like Dr. Doom. I can visualize that. Crazy.
Yep.
He said Combs spoke calmly, told him they were homies, and said he couldn't understand why Cudi would have a fling with Cassie. Combs' calmness during the meeting was off-putting. That's very. He's like, the fact that he was so calm was actually more terrifying. Very mob-like behavior. At the end of the meeting, he said he shook hands with Combs and asked Combs what they were going to do about his car. Combs told Cudi he didn't have any idea what he was talking about. Combs then asked if they were cool, but Cudi responded that Combs burned his car years after the meeting. Cudi told the court that Combs gave him a general apology for the past, but Combs would not admit to burning the car. Who the fuck else burned the car? Come on, give me a break.
Well, there was a weird kind of thing they almost allude to in the cross here, and we could talk about it in a second. Cudi did also then. Yeah, he did want to clarify. He had said something earlier, and he said, I think my timeline was a bit wrong. I think Diddy asked me to do a song with Cassie in 2010 instead of 2011. Wanted to make sure he was right on the record. And said that the first time that she spoke to him about their relationship was around Thanksgiving of 2010, and she told him that they were having problems. Now, at that point, Combs's attorney asked Cudi if he and Cassie had ever had any consensual encounters. The government and the prosecution and the judge both got very upset. There was a sidebar, and during the lunch break, they were livid, absolutely livid. It sounds like there is a law in place that essentially protects someone like Cassie because of what is alleged in this case, that you can't be bringing up that like outside behavior like that, and it should have been warned before they did so. It was a mess. It was bad. It was really, really bad.
Yeah, I mean, they clearly had a whole conversation that you can't talk about the actual relationship, and then he just ignored it, and he went and did it, and the judge is like, you knew it. Are you going to keep doing this? So huge red flag for Diddy's team. And again, I think, I called this one Diddy's done, because they are, it really feels like they're done. They're just grasping at straws. There's desperate reaches here. Well, you can't prove it because I moved the cameras is basically what's happening here. Yeah. And it's pretty disturbing. So, yes, good note. And then, yes, there was aware that female DNA had been taken from his vehicle. But as Luigi's booty lover just said, DNA cannot survive a Molotov device after it goes boom. It's impossible. Any survivable DNA means it was not torched. Argument is invalid. Correct. Or the way I read it is there was DNA evidence in the car, which could have been Cassie's, could have been anybody else who had driven the other side of the car. Because as we're looking at this car, right, there's DNA evidence in the car, it says. Is what I'm reading here.
Yeah, there could have been any passenger in the vehicle. I don't know if he had an assistant or a coworker, a sister, a friend. I have no idea. Like, I don't know what his family life is like. But I'm just saying, like, it could have literally been anyone. There was a moment where he was asked about Cassie and the frustration of her saying that they weren't together, but Diddy felt they were together, kind of. So he did confirm that he felt that Cassie had played him. Mm-hmm. But it was not his intention to, date someone who was in a relationship with somebody else. And also, Cudi did also say he didn't receive any information from the police following the incident. So he was never told about DNA that was in his car. There was they didn't get back to him. He didn't hear anything. So it kind of sounded like, were you aware that there was DNA in the vehicle that was from a female? And he was just kind of like, no.
But I do want to go back to the plate because I thought you'd have it, but that was a big point that they were trying to stick him with Cassie played you. And it's like, as if that's telling, see? And there was a line even I saw that said the defense played you just like she played Diddy is what they try to put out there. And it's like, that's the narrative they're trying to paint as if the jury's taken that bait. Oh yeah, this Cassie girl seems like such a slut. She's clearly the instigator of all of it. Okay, the hotel video completely destroys any possibility of that being the case. So also, good luck with that defense.
Can you blame her for not wanting to be in this relationship with someone that was obviously crazy possessive and jealous and nuts?
No, he loves her, Kim. Oh, nothing but love.
So yeah. And then at that point, the defense then started almost like trying to downplay the severity of the break-in of the house because Cudi had actually left his front door open. But the way that I understood it was it kind of sounded like there was somebody home potentially, right? Like but they're saying it wasn't forced entry. There's no like holes in the walls or anything. So I mean, it wasn't that bad. It's fine. It's
It's not
fine.
that big of a deal.
Not that big of a deal. It's okay. Wasn't like it was an intimidation tactic or made you feel unsafe in your own home or traumatized your dog. No biggie. No biggie.
They then
At
tried to
that-
like say like so there was no abuse, and then prosecutor jumped back in. I saw that thread too, and was like,
Yeah.
no, actually there was. So they did.
Well,
They ended stronger than the defense did.
There was a point where they asked him whether or not he was aware of the essay from Cassie. And it sounds like Cassie had told him about some of the physical A, but had not specified the specifics of the essay, which I understand to be blunt. So they were trying to make it sound like he wasn't aware that things were bad, that maybe it wasn't that bad, and he just said no. He's like, I knew that he had kicked her. I knew that he had done very not nice things to her. And then at that point we went on break.
And a Diddy fan
After
got
Kid
kicked
Cudi.
out of the courtroom.
He did.
Someone tried to hold up a sign. Something on a piece of paper held up for the Bad Boy record founder to see. Combs put on his glasses before saying, I can't see. The man then came to the second row of the courtroom gallery with writing. Combs responded, thank you. As he tapped, wow. That is
Yeah.
so not allowed. You
No.
cannot, no one coached you like, do not talk to people in the gallery, you moron. Tapped his chest. When a court marshal realized what was going on, he grabbed a piece of paper and the supporter was then escorted out of the courtroom. Idiots.
I can't.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, cool. Thanks for the note. Yeah, I'm just going to take notes from the... This Diddy guy is really dumb. So then Mylah?
There was one other
Morales?
thing they went over during the break there. The government argued to try to keep a couple photos out of the evidence because Cassie looked like she wasn't wearing a lot of clothing. They fought about it, went back and forth, agreed, and then kept going.
Yeah, I
But there were a
skipped it
few
because
wins for the-
exactly that. Nothing really
Yeah.
amounted about this.
There was wins. I think the point was there was wins on both sides, and to me it shows that the judge is still trying to be impartial.
It just also shows there's a lot of just grasping at straws and this and that,
Yeah.
and everybody's attempting. But then Mylah Morales came on, the makeup artist. So tell us about that,
Yes.
Kim. What was this about?
So she's a makeup artist that worked for Diddy and also for Cassie. She's also worked for Jennifer Lopez, Rihanna, very accomplished. She described herself as a big sister to Cassie. She would do her makeup for photo shoots, music videos, fashion magazines, and these photos would all be checked by Combs. Sean always wanted to make sure that she looked perfect, was a quote. So she corroborated some testimony that Cassie had made that alleged that Combs had hurt her in a hotel bedroom after spotting her unexpectedly at Prince's Los Angeles home, the party. And the makeup artist told the court that she stayed behind to take a nap on the couch of Cassie's hotel room that night and woke up to a commotion later. And she testified that Cassie came in and went straight to the bedroom with Combs behind her. And this was when she did not see it, but she heard it. She heard yelling and screaming before Combs left, and Ventura came out of the room with a swollen eye, busted lip, knots on her head after the incident. So she testified that she stayed with Cassie for a few days after the incident. She called a friend who was a doctor to come and check on her because she refused to go to the emergency room. And this really left Morales, I believe, I'm sorry if I'm saying it wrong, in fear for her life, so she didn't call the police. She and Cassie saw each other a few times after that night, but never acknowledged the incident. And she's done a lot of interviews, like she's been in a couple of the documentaries, and they really tried to isolate her on that, like she was money hungry. Except it was basically revealed she wasn't paid for any of the interviews. She did sell a couple of the photos that she had of herself and Kim Porter to CNN, and that was $1,000. So NBC wrote, the defense sought to paint her as an attention seeker, but the effort seemed to fall flat. It just didn't work. And with that, we moved on to the next witness.
which was Frederick Zemmour, general manager of Le Martage Hotel. He took the stand. So he was an employee at the hotel in Beverly Hills, dating back to 2008.
Well, what he did was he admitted hotel reservation records going back to 2008.
Oh,
He was
sorry,
the
I
general
misread
manager.
that. Thank you.
Yeah, no, it's okay. So he testified that the rooms that Diddy would get would require, trigger warning to everybody, this is all stuff nobody wants to know, but I guess some of you may, but I mean, each room would require deep cleaning after he stayed there. They were either in the names like Bad Boy, and then at one point it was under Frank White, Frank Black. Ryan Lopez was a new kind of false name that we heard, Jackie Starr. And notes on the hotel profile included that Combs used excessive amounts of oil and spilled candle wax on everything. There was also a note that they needed to be very conscious of the smell of the hallway outside of the room and to have air freshener ready. And also that they had to turn up the temperature in the room before they arrived because they liked it hot. So once they left, the rooms had to be marked out of order for deep cleaning. So I do have, it's in purple there, Andy, if you want to pull it up. There is the post from CNN that shows what some of the verbiage was, if you want to see it. There was like
Please
an
monitor
extra
outside his room, down the hall to spray air freshener.
Air freshener.
Always spills candle wax and everything and uses excessive amounts of oil. Oh, God. Place the room out of order until departure for deep cleaning. Please authorize an extra $1,000 when guest stays with us to cover room damages. So he's now known as someone who's excessively smelling it up, oiling it up, waxing it up. Yikes.
And
gross.
if we can go back to the headline, Doc, I think I have another note beside that, going to a tweet from Intercity Press, because this is an important one that I think people didn't get enough of. Christina Coram was again mentioned, and she had to approve the bill. But I'm not seeing her name being reported with that detail very many places. So
it does feel like they're holding out on her, maybe because Diddy doesn't want to know if she's actually going to do it. They're clearly holding on tight to this Christina character. Where is she? What's going on? How has she not been charged? I'm going to be doing a video with Nate the lawyer, I think, this evening, and I'm going to ask him more about that, because that's one thing I've heard criticism of, and I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know, but that for RICO law charges, you need to actually have multiple people charged, which right now it's just Diddy. And I want to verify, is that true? And could this Christina person be still added later? Could she make a plea deal and still be charged? I'm going to try to get through some of those details with him. So stay tuned. We'll post it on Popcorn Planet at some point. But good catch, yeah, because this is a key point into the RICO law of it all.
Exactly. And that's the thing. Everybody keeps going like, there's no accomplices. There's no other people. And it's like, yeah. And the thing is, I don't understand why the press isn't reporting this as loudly, because I'm seeing her name everywhere, which is why every time I see her name, I'm trying to let you guys know. Anytime I see an employee name, I'm trying to make that into the notes. I don't understand why it's not more important to some of these organizations that are reporting this. So thank you to Intercity Press for being on top of that and letting us know when people like KK are mentioned, because I think that is incredibly important.
Yeah, agreed. And it's clearly why this person, Frederic, is on the stand to not only set up the gross habit of these parties and grossness, but yes, that it's a whole system with multiple staff clearly doing it, with her approving bills and so on. So then Joshua Kraft and HS Homeland Security Computer Forensics took the stand. He's the one who extracted data from multiple devices, right? From the case. Man, what intel he was getting. That's a crazy gig. I'm the guy who hacked Diddy's phones. My God. He laid out his mythology, which was quite technical. He went over that Sean scooched his chair up to the defense table. He's like, well, I want to hear this one. His blue spiral notebook in hand, bent down his head to write. He says he examined 3 devices. Diddy's clearly like, which device? Did he get this encryption? It's almost like they're like 3 devices, 2 MacBook Pros, 1 MacBook Air, all belonging to Cassie, adding that each had their own unique challenges. He describes one being set to factory default, meaning someone tried to restore it and erase it. Another as having the user profile Frank Black, and a guest profile, and another that appeared to be damaged that would not power on. So they probably tried to destroy it before anything else. The defense had a quick cross asking if there was a Frank Black profile, which Croft confirmed. Then he was asked if he processed every file. He said yes. Prosecution then clarified that Croft proceeded with the search under warrant.
Because I think that's important because it almost kind of felt like when I was reading this that it was, okay, so if there's a profile of Frank Black and we know that that's a name for Diddy, that's his information. Were you allowed to go into that information? And then the prosecution kind of came out and went, there was a warrant, basically. So yes.
Stopping that,
yes.
Nipping in the bud, as they say.
Everything that was in Frank Black, we've got. And there was discussion about the iCloud accounts and all that type of stuff. There wasn't anything really presented, but they got it. Whatever is on there, they have it. And definitely Diddy was interested in figuring out what exactly they had.
Well, that's what's weird to me is like, okay, well, why'd you bring this guy on? Just to verify that you have it? Is that to scare tactic him? Or why not? So can you verify this document from, you know what I mean? Like, when are we getting to that part? Like,
I don't know.
When's that
I'm wondering
evidence
if
come
they
in?
have to do this to be able to introduce it into evidence to prove, like, you know, that an expert looked at this and did say this is that, this is authentic, blah, blah, blah. I'm not 100% sure, but that has now been, it's now in. So at that point, the day kind of wrapped up. We found out that the next witness, when we return next Tuesday, because they're off for tomorrow and Monday due to Memorial Day, will be Capricorn Clark, who was an employee of Sean Combs. She was the one that was forced along in the vehicle with the Kid Cudi situation. And after that, they plan to have witnesses from the LA Police Department and the fire department. And Comey confirmed that the prosecution's case is running on time.
How much more time do they have is what I'm curious about. When are they supposed to be done?
I'm not sure. I've heard 8 weeks total, but I don't know. And bluntly put, there's been a few times with the defense where the prosecution has been like, yeah, we think we're going to get through this pretty quickly. And then they're like, yeah, this person took 3 times as long because of cross type thing. So your guess is as good as mine. I don't know how the timing works. Like I remember with the Depp trial, there was a point where they were all fighting about how much time each side had left. I don't know how that works in a federal trial. But it does seem like the prosecution is trying to keep a tight ship.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a chess clock where I think they're right. Each side counts, crosses all of it. It counts towards your clock. And you're supposed to each get, whatever, if it's 8 weeks, you each get, typically it's what, like 3 weeks and 4 days, because they leave a couple days, obviously, for other things. But I'm curious what the total calendar is. If anybody has that calendar, like the court calendar based, or anybody, hit us up so we can be prepared as well, because we didn't even know they were off tomorrow, which they are, guys. They will not be back until Tuesday, which honestly I think is a good relief for Kim. She gets to finally take a break from this, which I'm quite grateful for.
So
I'm going to be gone anyway, so it's way less pressure on us. We can enjoy our weekend now. Yeah, we'll be back Tuesday, and hopefully it still was surprising me that it ended early. Was there anything else at the end? I guess we didn't really check. Did you check Intercity Press?
I did check. That
Nothing else
is
really
what
happened
I saw.
as the court
I didn't
wrapped.
see anything else. I noticed that Twitter seemed to be having troubles updating. I was getting a lot of error messages, and I found out I was not the only one. So I think it may be possible, but I'm pretty sure the Intercity Press thread finished, and I did check a couple of the more reliable sources that update quite frequently, and I did not see anything super pressing.
Yeah,
and they definitely wanted to get out of there.
There it is. So that's today's day. We're at this is day 9.
Yep.
Day 9.
Made it.
Our first celebrity on the stand. Well, I mean, not including Cassie, but interesting to see that. More witnesses, and rather quick getting through it and actually building up, I think, a case. I mean, I was a little worried that first week just because it was early, and I succumbed to some of the peer pressure out there of they're not doing this, they're not doing that. But clearly, we all jumped the gun because it does seem like the RICO law is coming. RICO law! It's closer and closer as it's happening. And we will obviously keep you up to date as all of this continues throughout the next few weeks after this weekend. Make sure you go support It's Kim on YouTube. As I'm highlighting a recap, we'll hang for another couple minutes, but I want to make sure I'm promoting her. She's on YouTube. Just go It's Kim, just like I'm doing right now. You go It's Kim, and she pops up. Boom. And then you can go support, subscribe, and let's get her to 33,000 subscribers sooner than later. There you go, guys.
And I'm spamming my link tree that has all of my links. So my Insta, my YouTube, my PayPal, if you want to send me a tip, say thanks, all that stuff. And please make sure that you have liked this stream and subscribed as well to Popcorn Planet, because we're going to keep doing this. We're gonna keep giving
Yeah,
updates.
I'm not gonna do it because my kid just came in for the biggest hug, so I'm gonna wrap up soon. Say hi, Diego.
Hi, Diego.
Hi. But yes, what a show. Glad we got it. Glad we got to get it done a little earlier today. They sent us all home. That was nice. But stay tuned. A lot more coming here on Popcorn Planet. And it's Kim.